Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Activated Journeys. I'm your host, Tia Nicole, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Malika Williams. She is the founder of an organization called L.I.V.E Outreach, which is an organization that services foster children and resources for them. So today we're going to talk about how she got started in her journey and putting together this organization. So without further ado, let's jump right into this topic. So, how you doing today?
How are you? I'm great. I'm great.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on it.
Yes.
Excited. Glad to be here. So, I can't wait to talk about the future and the things with L.I.V.E because everybody always say L.I.V.E, but it's L.I.V E. So it reflects
L.I.V E Outreach. So I thank you for that correction. So I said it wrong. So it's L.I.V.E Outreach, not L.I.V.E Outreach. L.I.V.E Outreach.
Yes,
Thank you for that correction. So I went on your website and I read your profound story. So why don't you tell the audience your story of how you got started with your foundation?
Okay, so I was a foster child. I went into foster care when I was about 14 years old. And by the time I was 16, I was someone's mother. By the time I was 17, I was convicted and facing prison time. So the organization was founded because I always want to be the voice for foster children, because especially the children that are in a demographic of age of teenage, because I've learned that that is the age and the times where kids are a little bit forgotten about, and a lot of foster parents are not interested in being a foster parent to those children.
I see. That actually, when I was reading your story, actually resonated with me because I also had a child young I was 18 going on 19. So I just had graduated high school. And it was pressured upon me by one of my family members to give my daughter up for adoption and to put her into foster care. And I'm just like, that just didn't sit well with me. Like, nah, I don't want to just give my child away and then come back 5 or 10 years later and have to explain why I wasn't there.
Exactly. With being a foster kid and you being a little bit older, my experience, it's kind of like being seen and not heard. You know, as long as I was doing the things that I needed to do, like going to school and things like that, that was of requirement to live in a household. You know, I kind of was forgotten about. I didn't. I can say maybe 1 or 2 people that I can really say that I felt like they were genuinely in it because they were passionate about it. And so all these years, it was something that I always wanted to do. And it's one foster mother, her name is Veronica Singleton. She's married now, so her last name is hyphenated, so it's Merriweather. But she always was very persistent as far as being a positive advocate in my life. And she took on the role of being a foster mother, but I knew she was doing it for all the right reasons. So we, to this day, are really connected and have a really good relationship. She teaches me a lot of things, and she helps me understand, you know, some of the psychological things as a foster parent with dealing with foster children, especially older foster children. because it's a strain there, because I understand it now, having my own children. You got teenagers, they already got issues, right? Yeah. And so they're going through life things, and then you're going to bring them to me, and they're not my kid, and you expected me to be able to, fix all the trauma, because there's no telling what type of trauma. It could be sexual trauma, it could be physical, it's a lot of things. And I experienced, I've been molested, and I've experienced violence in the household, and drug abuse, So I understand it. I think it made me who I am as a person, though. I think telling my story is so refreshing for me now, because so many people be like, oh my God, I didn't know you went through that. Like, if I would have knew you, like people I work with and things like, oh my God, reading a book, they like, oh my God.
You're touching lives with
and
your
the thing
story.
Is, they like, I never would have knew. Like, I never would have knew. Like, you don't even give me that kind of, like, you had that kind of lifestyle impression at all.
Thank God you don't look like what you've been through, right?
Yes. So I'm thankful for that.
So your program offers a lot of different resources to help the foster children. So tell me about some of the programs that you offer to help these foster children.
One of the biggest things is accountability. I think that it's extremely important for us, me being an African-American female. It's a lot of things that we veer away from, or we are taught to think is acceptance for us. So one of the things is natural hair care tips. I think that is extremely important of loving yourself. I think young Black females have a hard time. That's whether you in foster care or not. They don't even want to be seen or go to school if they ain't got lashes. They ain't got long weave, and I've seen it. So one of the things is, because I'm a mother of 4 children altogether. My oldest daughter, she's 18 now, but she went through a very hard time in school with. She didn't want to wear weave. She got locks now, like natural locks. She's been wearing locks for years. But when you go through that stage where your locks is really short, it's like you're not the cutest at that time to yourself, especially if you're a young adult and you care about what people say. Right. And she took that extremely hard. And so that was one of the things that I was conscious of, just period, across the board. I think all parents deal with is kids need the self-esteem part. Yes. One of the programs that I implement is hair care tips. Natural hair care tips. It's okay if you're not able to get your hair done, but you can wear a wrap, you can wear a twist style. These are the things that naturally, under the wigs or weaves or funnels or all the things that everyone wears, this is how you can naturally care for your hair. Right. And you still is just as beautiful with it than without it. And so even speaking with stylists that I have a good relationship with that comes out and volunteers, that's some of the things that they notice too, that a lot of the young girls, they want these long, exotic weaves.
Social media and what they see and everything that they're portraying of the beauty standard of this is how you're supposed to look, or this is what beauty is.
Think about even with the body. So people that are heavier set, that have they always might have been a little chubby. That's kind of always, so now naturally, humanly, like in your mind, you think you're supposed to have a body that consists of you gotta look like Kim Kardashian. I feel like the face for us is wrong. The face for us, what we vouch for, is not adequate. It's not accurate. So I think it's important for us to be that example. So that's a big thing for us. Financial literacy, I know for a fact in our community.
They're not teaching it in school, so come on.
Financial literacy, we don't know about credit. We not, about interest rate, just different things that affect our lives as far as student loans. Even people that went off to college, people are not educated on what it takes as far as being financially responsible. It's something that I'm ignorant to a sense as well. And so I want to implement that with young kids, and we can implement that and let them know about the various opportunities, the different options that they have with certain situations, whether it's college or financing a car or buying your first home. I think it's very, very important for us to educate our kids on that. In the urban community, you don't have a lot of people talking about home ownership and things
Just
like
building
that.
wealth, period, to not have to live check to check and be able to sustain an abundance lifestyle, so to speak, instead of just, oh, I got to live this poor check to check lifestyle and I can't really do it. That's almost like slavery. Like you just making enough to provide your basic needs. You should be able to live life abundantly
Traveling,
beyond your
exposing your
needs.
children to various opportunities outside of that, whether it's, you know, the extra curriculum and things like that. I think that's very important. Another program that we offer and want to extend mentoring as far as peer-to-peer. I think it's extremely important because I feel like kids of the same age group more. It don't necessarily have to be the same demographic as far as their lifestyle living. But having someone that's 17 and I'm 17 and you live a totally different life than I live, and me and you are friends, and we having this communication about, we dealing with some of the same identity or some of the same issues. I think peer-to-peer mentoring is a very effective way if you have someone that's overall conducting it, if that make any sense.
That makes sense.
So like you got two people that are from different households. You might have one that's in the suburbs and you might have one that might live in an urban city. And they might still deal with some of the same issues because an African-American young lady who has a middle class or high class type of situation compared to somebody, but they're still dealing with going to an all Caucasian or they're the only minority in the school. Things like that. I just feel like that helps with a lot of things, like a even out. Because it's so divided. You know, if your parents live on this spectrum and your parents live on the other side of that spectrum, these are never meant to.
So they would never meet because
they were never meant
being raised in.
Exactly. So I think that is something that I'm really trying to put across the board. Just like it makes me think about my son had a pen pal, and a pen pal was someone that went to the middle school and he's in elementary school, and this person was like an 8th grader, so of course it was looked upon like he was mentoring my child. But I thought that it was really good because they went back and forth with letters of different things they liked and just, you know, it was a different type of exposure. And I think looking at that, I was like, oh my God, that is so refreshing. And so mentally, I think we have to be strategic. That's all I'm saying as far as like getting to the kids and understanding that we all know that we all have different lives and different paths that we come across, but we still face some of the same things. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could be a person that have a lot of things in place for you, but still as an African American woman, you are still faced, even though you might could be in a high position, you're still faced with a lot of the same things I might be going through with my boss at McDonald's. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's letting a person know that it's no matter where you at in life, you're still looked upon sometimes as to a certain degree, whether you're a woman or whether you're black and you're a woman. You see what I'm saying?
Or you're a black man or whatever.
Exactly. So I think that's very, very, very important to the growth, because I was able to identify that. I'm just basically designing a program that I think that would have been effective for me, if that makes any sense.
Yes. So you have you currently have a new program, which is L.I.V.E One Item Challenge. So where people can donate at least one toiletry item to support young women. So tell me a little bit more about that program and how that came about.
So we've been doing a one item challenge. I want to say this is maybe about the 4th year. And so we would go on and say, hey guys, we challenge you, even if, this is designed for everyone across the spectrum. We do one item because we don't want to feel pressure to say, you know, you got to buy these 10 things, and oh my God, really, I can't afford these 10 things, but I want to support. These items are normally things that you can actually purchase from the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, and that is now $1.25, but it's still reasonable and affordable for everyone to be able to participate, whether you make a whole lot of money or you don't. And that's what L.I.V.E is about. L.I.V.E is about people that want to participate, but they really can't participate. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because, okay, you might be asking for $20. I might not have $20 a week to spare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But one item, I can go to the Dollar Tree and buy a stick of deodorant or, you know, some body lotion or some body wash or some
needs. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we would do every year is we would say, hey, friends and family, you know, and then we would shout certain people out. So I say, hey, Tia, I'm challenging you to the one item challenge. You can only purchase one item or you can buy 100 items.
Right.
But we're only asking you to bring us just one item. So
the
you
goal
won't
is to get everybody included. If you get 1,000 people or 500 people to donate one item, look at how many items you got to now help these young children for their necessities.
So what we would do is normally we would get an organization that we would partner with, and this would be the organization that we would donate to. Okay. This year, I want to do where I get more personal. I want to go off into maybe some schools or an agency and say, hey, you got a family or two that you would love, and we want to put these items that we will get from the one item challenge into like maybe baskets. My goal is 25. I would be ecstatic with 50, but you know, like just putting different things in that way. Those foster parents or their relative that have that kid, you know, deodorant, you know, maybe sanitary napkins, things that is something that, you know, that people have to pay for. A lot of times when you're struggling, you already got to worry about food, but then the extra essential things too can be a headache. Tissue and, you know what I'm saying, toothpaste and toothbrushes and shaving cream and, you know, soap. And these are things that you need every day. So we're doing that up until March. Okay. And our goal, like I said, is to select a few families, and we're going to just specifically for these particular kids give them items to. Normally, we would find a facility. Okay. So we've donated to Vista Maria. We've collected these items, and we went to Alternative for Girls. We collected these items and then Covenant House. Okay. So we do the big organizations, but I want to be a little bit more personable now. Right. So I want to go into the community and say, hey, because I want to see the faces that these products and the things that we are gathering from all the people that is supporting us, and say, hey, you know, for example, Tamika, you know, this is her family and we're giving her this. And so people would know where their donations and things are going to. I think that's essential too. A lot of people want to know, even if I am donating one item, I want to know where it's going to, who's getting it, where it's going. So we're going to get a little bit more personable this year. That's our goal.
Yeah, so for those out there who want to donate some items, where would they donate the items directly to?
So they can contact me, Malika Williams, by email, which is the L.I.V.E Outreach at Gmail. Also, my phone number, 313-952-4564. You can definitely contact me via text or email. You can call me as well. Leave me a message if I don't answer. And we are making necessary strides and dates where we would rather pick up, or you can actually have a designated place where you can drop off. Because I know some people are not as comfortable with going to some, you know, certain situations and places. So I'm putting that in place as well. But normally what I do is people don't have no problems with donating or dropping off. And we have a designated place that we agree that we both feel comfortable with meeting at.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you shared that information. Now, you started your organization in 2014, correct? So in 2020, you wrote a book, which is right here. So tell me about, it's an autobiography about your life. So what was the question that I had about this book? My goodness. What is that's my question. What is the number one lesson you learned from your experience?
So I got in some trouble because, let me say this, I was emotionally unstable. And I ended up having a son. And the guy that I was dating, which was my son's father, had a kid with another woman. And so it created chaos. Of course, at 16 years old, I'm dealing with like grown women issues. And so, long story short, it lapsed over to someone got hurt. And I went to jail. And this had been an ongoing thing between me and this young lady. And of course, like I said, not having an adequate support and people that to say, hey, this is not right, this is not what's supposed, to kind of squash that. I didn't have that. But I will never forget, I went in front of the judge. Her name was Vera Massey Jones. And she told me, she said, if I ever see you again in my courtroom, I'm going to give you 2/3 of 10 years. When I tell you that's her exact words. Those were her exact words. I'm going to give you a chance. But if you come back in front of me, you violated probation, anything happened.
Anything.
I'm sending you to prison. I'm sending you to prison. And that's all I needed to hear. Because I knew my experience being in jail at 17 with grown women that was doing things that was
far beyond what you were doing.
And I had already been in foster homes and group homes. So I was kind of accustomed to that lifestyle, like being, facilitated.
Yeah.
No big deal, okay. But when she told me that,
she like, oh no.
You gonna do some serious time, Miss Williams. If I see you here again, it's your choice of what you want to do. And at that time, her saying that to me is something that would never change. Not because she threatened me, but because I knew I was much better than prison and jail and things like that. And so I had to reevaluate my situation in my life because I was going down a path that was destructive to myself, only to myself. So that was definitely an eye-opener for me. And, of course, me having a son, at a young age, I didn't want him to live that life and repeat that pattern and have that as all his memory of his mother. Hey, I was this and I was that, but I wasn't there. I wasn't, and so I knew what my growing up was and how it affected me. I just didn't want that to be for my son. So I had to make an executive decision. That part of my life, even at a young age, I made an executive decision that I could be better, I can do better, I can show people better. Matter of fact, I can be the voice of the people, the same people that's going through some of the same thing. So let me make it a brand.
Yeah. And help somebody else. Maybe you can save somebody else's life so they don't have to go through the same exact thing that you went through.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So where can people purchase this book if they want to?
It is on Amazon. You can always reach out to me. I have personal books. I definitely send out and things like that. But you can purchase it on Amazon. I'm Just Trying to Live. It's under Malika, a Dreamer. A Dreamer is my middle name. So if you looked under Malika Williams, you would not be able to get that same thing. But I'm ecstatic because I want people to read about it. It's very raw. It's very real. It talks about things a lot of my family didn't know that I went through, things that I kept to myself, and I'm not ashamed of. My whole experience of being a teen mother, experiencing abortion, experiencing witnessing murder, experiencing my whole thing of being in jail. So it was a very, very touchy thing. But I think leaving this out here for the world to see if I was not to live tomorrow, I'm satisfied. I'm happy.
Okay.
So
that's what's up. That's good to hear. I love that. Well, in closing, I just want you to people who need your services or who want to volunteer and be a part of the movement that you have going on. I just want you to reiterate your contact information so they can get in contact with you.
Okay, so Malika Williams. I'm always in the city of Detroit, but you can contact me by phone or also by email. I don't have a physical address, but we do have a P.O. box. So even if you wanted to send out something to the P.O. box. So the email is the L.I.V.E Outreach at Gmail. So that's THELIVE OUTREACH at Gmail. .com. We also have a website, theliveoutreach.org. The P.O. Box is P.O. Box 579, and that's East Point, Michigan 48021. Phone number 313-952-4564. I look forward to any comments, questions, concerns, or anything like that. I'm always open to extending myself and being open to the community, because I'm a community advocate. So things that we feel like we need to come together for a resolution, I'm open for those things. I know that right now my demographic is teen girls, but I get a lot of situations where people contact me about things that is not even in my jurisdiction. And so I want to open myself to those resources, because I want to be able to, hey, if somebody call me and say, hey, I got a young man, that's homeless, or this is going on with him, I want to be able to expand myself. So right now I'm just starting off, or I've been focused on this particular demographic just because it's important to me, because I understand that's the next generation of people.
Yes.
Those are the next generation of people that are raising kids and things like that. These young ladies, not saying that the young men are not as important, because they are just as important, but that's my ultimate goal, is where I'm expanding, where it's all races, all ages, the diversity, all of that, because we need it, especially in our community. So, we got to start somewhere. And so that's where I'm at. I'm in the starting stage, but I'm ecstatic to where I know it's going to go.
Yes. Just like they say, be the change that you want to see in others. And you're
Yes.
definitely doing that.
Yes.
So in closing, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and your experiences. That's all we have time for today. Stay tuned to see what's coming up next week on Activated Journeys. Good night, everybody.
Bye.